You're watching BloombergQuint here in Davos at the World Economic Forum's 50th annual meeting, and I have with me the chairman of Bharat Forge Baba Kalyani to talk us through the outlook not just for global growth for industries such as his, but also what the mood on India here is. So thanks very much for speaking with us. We just saw yesterday the IMF marginally reduced its expectations of growth for this year for across the global economy, but the big cut came, for India as anticipated. What do you make of the growth environment for industries like yours in 2020?
I think 2020 is a year which is going to be challenging for the manufacturing sector and especially for the automotive industry, not only in India, worldwide. We are in a cyclical phase where we are in a down cycle, almost, of course, in India, in Europe, in North America. And I think this down cycle will play through at least the first 2-3 quarters of calendar year 2020.
Okay.
And then you will start seeing the growth coming back. It was very interesting to hear President Trump speak in the inaugural address at the plenary, and I've never seen a U.S. president more optimistic about growth and the numbers.
But he has to be. He's in an election
that's okay,
year.
But the numbers he rolled out were very impressive. So I don't think we need to be overly pessimistic about things. I think the automotive industry is cyclical in nature. We are going through a down cycle. And unfortunately for us in India, a couple of other events kind of coincided with the down cycle, so the down cycle seems much more deeper than it is. But I think the worst is behind us. I think we already beginning to see growth coming back, and I think give 2 quarters more, and I think we should be getting back to a normative automotive industry and then growing from there.
What gives you conviction that the worst is behind us?
The numbers. We're beginning to see.
So in every
sector.
terms of order book numbers, the conversations you're having with clients?
Yeah, exactly.
So is it anecdotal? Is it data-based?
No, it is all
trying to get a sense of it.
It's just data-based.
Okay.
It is purely data-based. In this industry, there's nothing called an order book.
Okay.
Okay, it's all, it's one industry which is highly automated in terms of supply chain. So everything is EDI based, everything is digital. So it's based on what demand we are seeing from our customers, what offtake.
Okay.
So that gives me to believe that the worst is behind us, and I think slowly things will get back to normal. What
kind of uptick are you seeing in demand? Because if I remember correctly, at least at the company level, you all had forecast that the second half of FY20 will be muted growth.
Yeah, correct.
So is it good enough, the uptick that you're seeing, to revise your guidance in some fashion?
No, we are not revising any guidance. I think the growth will be muted, but I think we were very clear even 6 months ago that we will have a difficult period in Q3, Q4, industry-wise.
Right.
And I think after Q4, one should start seeing an upward movement. Now we are beginning to see that upward movement, slowly, but steadily. But, it's a global phenomenon. It's not just an Indian phenomenon. So we have to run through this down cycle. And this is not the first time. I'm seeing this. This must be my 5th down cycle that I'm seeing.
But, sir, almost every business leader I've spoken to in the last 1 year has said to me, mostly off the record, that this is probably the worst down cycle they've seen in the Indian economy in their lifetimes or in their careers. At 5% growth, which is a fairly disappointing number, nobody has had anything optimistic to say. You sound a little better off at this point in time. Is it just because you think the first and second quarter of FY21 are going to look a little better than the first and second quarter of FY20?
No, it's not that. I honestly, I don't think I'm talking about numbers or a guidance for my
just
business.
Outlook. I'm talking about outlook.
No, my business. I'm talking about a general outlook. There is no doubt that we have been through a downturn as an industry, not just as a company, as an industry. And the whole manufacturing sector has gone through this grind. And I think things are turning around. Now, at what speed does it turn around, and how fast do we get back to, let's say, a much higher rate of growth? would, to a large extent, depend on many other factors, including, what happens in the budget and
fiscal intervention.
What other interventions the government is thinking about. I think the government has had many dialogues with business, with industry, with every sector of the economy. So it's not just one sector. We may be connected to the automotive business or industrial business, but our sector is driven largely by investments made and GDP growth in the country.
Right.
If you look at the truck business, general formula is transportation increases 1.5 times to 1.8 times GDP growth. And even in today's session, there were many people who were there from the Middle East and Australia who were kind of saying the same thing. So I think the focus has to be to get the GDP up, and once that starts happening, I think growth will come.
Okay, I'll get to the GDP up bit in just a bit, but I wanted one insight from you on the slump we've seen, if I may call it that, in the auto industry in India over the last year, and there's been a lot of hand-wringing on trying to figure out the reasons for this, ranging from new emission norms, therefore higher costs of vehicles, to changing consumption patterns, and then millennials. You've been in this industry for a really long time. What would you ascribe as reasons for why?
First of all, okay, let me take each of your issue one by one. First of all, the emission norms is to yet kick in. That's going to happen from April 1.
Right.
Okay, so the pricing change is going to happen from April 1. So that's not affecting anything today. Matter of fact, we should have seen a better pre-buy, if at all. So that's
maybe people are not buying because they want to buy the newer vehicles that come into play after April 1st, right? So maybe they postponed purchase decisions.
That doesn't happen normally.
We've heard every reason in the book. I'm saying, according to you, what do you think the core reasons are?
I will analyze your reason. According to me, the reason is very simple and only one. This is a cyclical downturn. Okay? So you
like
cannot
every other cyclical downturn you've seen.
We have seen every 4 or 5 years, the automotive industry goes through a cyclical downturn. And this is one of those cyclical downturns.
But all the auto companies were bred in the face, shouting for government help, stimulus measures, suggesting that this was all very abnormal and out of character for an industry that actually should be growing, given our population.
Then why is the European auto industry going down by
maybe
20,
in a different
30%?
phase, different car ownership data, all of that? No,
I don't think so. I think we are far away from the millenniums not buying cars and shared mobility. Yes, those are all concepts that are coming in, but as a volume percentage of the whole automotive trade worldwide, I don't think that even figures 1%.
Okay, so you're saying this is just another cyclical downturn, not a structural issue.
So I don't think we should get overly worried about it.
Okay, fine. I want to come to the budget issue that you spoke, or rather, let me put it, budget and other fiscal interventions that, the government needs to make. What are you a votary of that they consider expanding the fisc and investing in infrastructure, which is a medium to long-term, but, a better return and a better quality of spend situation, or immediate consumption boost?
I think the government has already announced its intentions of investing in infrastructure.
But I mean that, if I may say so, is intention at this point, not concrete plans.
Yeah, well, that's why I said that I think we need to wait till what comes out of the budget. Because it all depends on
But you're in favor of more money towards infrastructure as opposed to an immediate consumption boost?
What will it do in consumption boost?
Maybe boost the NREGA program or put more money in the hands of people through PM Kisan or instances of that sort.
I think those kind of things will happen, but I don't think that might help the economy incrementally. But what will help the economy to a large extent is investment in infrastructure, which will create immediate demand for capital goods, which will make the economy in the medium term more efficient. I mean, what is infrastructure all about? Is to make the economy more efficient and make it more competitive. And I think that's the direction, at least from my sense,
that the government should take.
The government is taking or talking about.
Well, what about should take? What's your idea for growth?
Should take. I mean, that's what they need to do. They need to put large amounts of money in infrastructure and create that. Second, programs like Make in India need to work.
How many Davoses have we discussed Make in India?
Not many.
At least 8.
No. It only started
Make in India was a program that started with even the previous government.
It started in 2014 December.
It's
by Prime
2020, 6 years
yes,
now.
So 5.5 years. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's been a total.
I'm not suggesting that. I'm saying it's just not achieved the success that one would have hoped for.
A lot of things have happened, but a lot more things need to happen. So, look at the bright side of it. The bright side of it is you have a huge amount of imports that we do in manufactured products. Our electronic product imports are touching some 70, 80, 90 billion dollars a year, and this is going to keep increasing. Our defense imports are continuously increasing. These are great opportunities for India to get into manufacturing.
Should I ask about how the defense business is doing, Mr. Kalyani? You sound sanguine about slow growth. You sound optimistic about getting over all the hurdles. Yet every time I ask you about any kind of even tentative forecast for your businesses, you prefer not to answer. So I'm trying to reconcile the two here. You're broadly optimistic for the economy.
You can ask me about the economy. I'm prepared to answer.
But not on the company.
No, not on
okay. One final question. In the last few months, I might say, we've had several business leaders voice some concerns, about the way the economy is being run or the way regulation is being run. For instance, Mr. Bajaj mentioned how he felt there was a sense of fear in the economy in being able to speak its mind or their mind.
I don't think I want to make a comment.
Oh, so no, I'm not asking you. Let me finish the second one. The second question that I want to ask you is more recently, N. Chandrasekaran of the Tata Group said that, businessmen are looked at with a lot of suspicion, and instead we just need supervision, not suspicion. So there seems to be a sense that maybe the government should step back a little bit, from the very tight rein it seems to have, including on regulation. What is your view?
Well, I think that's exactly what they have been saying for a long time, right? The whole concept of ease of doing business, wanting to step back.
Is there ease of doing business in India?
In many areas, yes.
Okay.
I would say if you look at the central government, of course, it's everything is become a lot more simpler, easier. There's a lot of work to be done at the state governments.
Okay.
And the problem in India is, which most people don't understand, is everything is not run by the central government. The central government lays down a policy. The implementation of the policy, 80-90% of it depends on the state government. And if the state governments are not able to implement policies efficiently and effectively, then you won't see growth. I'll give you some simple example. You look at Telangana. Okay? I mean, Telangana came into being just a few years ago, right? Yes. After Andhra was split. But the state government is so proactive in implementing its policies, whether it's industrial policy or policy towards business, towards agriculture. It's a fantastic place to be.
I will convey your message to KTR.
Yeah,
we're speaking with him tomorrow. One final question, Mr. Kalyani. You're not going to like it, I'll tell you right up front, but I'm going to ask you anyways, because it's a question I need to put to every business leader in the country. There has been a degree of social unrest over the last several months. Students are protesting an amendment to an act that they're not in favor of and they believe is discriminatory on the grounds of religion. What do you make of the situation? Business has been very, very silent on it. Do you stand in solidarity with India's youth, or do you believe that it's something you don't want to wade into?
First of all, let's understand. I don't think these are India's views.
Students. I said students, groups of population.
I'm not a student. I passed that.
But surely you empathize with the youth.
I empathize with the country. But, that doesn't mean that you need to empathize with everything that's happening. Okay. Sometimes lack of information, sometimes misunderstanding of, what the system is trying to do, what the government is trying to do, can create these kind of situations. This is not the first time we have had a situation like this. Okay, so my own feeling is that, I am pretty much with the government as far as this is concerned. Okay. I don't think there's anything wrong in every country in the world. I mean, why are we discriminating ourselves against other countries in the world?
Okay. All right.
that's
So I
my
think
answer.
you've given me an answer when I didn't anticipate one. Thank you so much, Mr. Kalyani, for your time, and thank you for talking to us here on Bloomberg Quint.